lady.
Isn't it strange how many of our favorite nursery rhymes are about death and decay? Endings are such a part of life as beginnings. So, it would seem, they make for some of the best and most lasting ditties that we learn from childhood through adulthood. Here, though, we'll talk about a bridge. Not just any bridge, but London Bridge to be exact, and its never ending failure to stay intact with the song London Bridge is Falling Down. The traditional English nursery rhyme is also a singing game. It's also known as London Bridge or even My Fair Lady. As far as the content, the rhyme deals with the deteriorating of the famous and large London Bridge, along with attempts to fix the ailing construction with things like mortar and metals. Some say the song may date back to the late Middle Ages, but the earliest records of the song came from the 17th century. The lyrics for the rhyme were first printed, as they are generally known today, in the mid 18th century. They became popular in the UK and the US in the 19th century, which is also when the melody for the rhyme was recorded. London Bridge itself, until the middle of the 18th century, the London Bridge was an only crossing for people on the Thames River in London. The structure was damaged in a big fire in 1633 and narrowly escaped more damage in the fire of 1666. With its 19 thin arches, the structure impeded river traffic and flow, so they say. Widening of the bridge took place in 1763, but even then it remained narrow and needed constant repairs. The bridge was replaced in the early 19th century. The new London Bridge was opened in 1831 and survived until it, too, was replaced later in 1972. At the time, the 1831 bridge was taken apart and reconstructed in all of places Lake Havasu City, Arizona, in the United States. While there may be many verses attributed to the song throughout history, mostly having to do with which substance was being used to potentially fix the bridge, the most frequent verse often used, London Bridge is falling down, is falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. The rhyme for the song is made from quatrains, or trochaic tetramatic catalectic, meaning that each line is made up of 4 metric feet of 2 syllables, with the stress coming on the first syllable in a pair. This is common for nursery rhymes. One of the lasting aspects of the nursery rhyme is the physical game that can be played along with singing in the production of 2 children often lined up face to face with their arms in the air and hands held together like arches. Other children run underneath their arms as the two sing the nursery rhyme. At some point, they lower their arms, catching whoever is in their grasp at the time. Similar to recitals of Ring Around the Rosie, Humpty Dumpty, there is a falling down component to the rhyme and physical enactment which brings smiles to the children's faces. The precise actual meaning of the rhyme is not entirely certain, although it could be an elaborate metaphor for either death or just the eventual decay of aspects of society, or at any given point. If something like the actual London Bridge can crumble, anything can. Not to mention the actual building of the Great London Bridge must have been, taunting with failures along the way to its eventual finality, and many of its elements at times breaking off and floating away in the waters, from metal girders to bolts and more. One thought, though, is that the rhyme dates back to the destruction of the London Bridge by the Viking Olaf II in 1014, the 19th century translation of the Norse epic. The Heimskringla, published in 1844, includes a verse that resembles the rhyme. So I'm going to say it as what's written here, and I'll pronounce what I can properly. I'll probably make mistakes, but just like I did about, the translation from what the thing is. London Bridge is broken down, gold is won, and bright renown, shields resounding, war horns sounding. Hild is shouting in the din, arrows singing, mail coats ringing. Odin makes our Olaf win. In more recent history, though, scholars have thought the above verse and the now common nursery rhyme are likely not related. Some historians have even wondered if the Viking attack even took place. Here's where it gets dark, a little bit more gruesome. Some have put forward the claim that the nursery rhyme refers to the burying, perhaps even alive, of children at the base foundation of the bridge. This is based on the myth that the bridge would collapse unless a body of a human sacrifice was buried in its foundation as a watchman. There are no archaeological evidence of any human remains in the foundation of the actual London Bridge. However, yet bodies were found beneath the actual bridge in 2007 during excavation work, though that is more than likely not related to its original construction. There have been many guesses as to who the fair lady is at the end of the nursery rhyme's main refrains. Some say it's the Virgin Mary. When the Vikings attacked, it apparently took place on the birthday of the Virgin Mary. The Vikings attacked the bridge but couldn't take the city. It was protected by Mary, some say. Others have argued the fair lady is Matilda of Scotland, who lived from 1080 to 1118. She was responsible for the building of a series of bridges. Some have said the fair lady is Eleanor of Provence from 1223 to 1291, who has custody of the bridge revenues from 1269 to 1291. The Lay family of Stoneleigh Park claims in a traditional family story that they have a family member buried under the bridge as part of a human sacrifice. Again, that is likely not true, but however, basic legacy nursery rhyme remains one of the most famous in the world. It is referenced by T.S. Eliot's famous poem, The Wasteland, and some say the Fair Lady inspired the 1956 musical My Fair Lady. The rhyme is still changed by children often who sing it. So for instance, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Build it up with iron bars, iron bars, iron bars. Build it up with iron bars, my fair lady. Now, that's basically the interpretation, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here. London Bridge is falling down, right, was also known, as I said earlier, My Fair Lady or London Bridge, a traditional English nursery rhyme and singing game, which is found in different versions all over the world. It deals in despair of London Bridge and, how the attempts, realistic or fanciful, to repair it all the time. Like, it just was turmoil for the people. It may date back to bridge-related rhymes and games of the late Middle Ages, but the earliest record, as we said, in English are from 17th century. The lyrics were first printed in around the mid of 18th century and became popular, in Britain, United States later on. The modern melody was first recorded in the late 19th century and has a rude folk song index number of 502 for those who look for that sort of information. several explanations have been advanced to explain the meaning of the rhyme and the identity of the fair lady, still are not really truly known today. They're still looking into it. But um, we know the basic lyrics of the rhyme, especially the first verse, although other versions substitute, and I'll be mentioning about some, like this, for instance, here, London Bridge is broken down, broken down, broken down. Um, so, on all the basic rhymes and basic melodies for London Bridge is an addition of, for instance, John Playford's The Dancing Master, published in 1718, but it differs from the modern tune recorded above. Basically, as I said, and no lyrics were given at the time. An issue of Blackwood's magazine in 1821 noted that the rhyme is being sung to the tune of Nancy Dawson, better known as Nuts in May, and the same tune was given to Richard Tomlinson's Chronicles of London Bridge in 1827. Another tune was recorded by Samuel Arnold, Juvenile Amusements, in 1797. E.F. Rimbaud's Nursery Rhymes in 1836 has the same first line, but then a different tune. The tune now associated with the rhyme was first recorded in 1879 in the United States in A.H. Roswig's Illustrated National Songs and Games. So, as we said, the basic game, which exists in a wide variety of forms with additional verses, most verses are similar to the actions used in the rhyme of the one that I've already covered, Oranges and Lemons. The most common is the two players hold hands, make an arch, while others pass through, and then at some point lower it to catch a player. And is come in two teams of those that have been caught to engage in a tug of war, basically. 5 to 9 versions published in Alice Gomme in 1894 include references to a prisoner who has stolen a watch and chain. This may be a late 19th century edition from another game called Hark and Robbers, or Watch and Chain. This rhyme is sung to the same tune and may be an offshoot to London Bridge or the remnant of a distant game. So in one version, the first two verses have the lyrics, "Who has stolen my watch and chain, watch and chain, watch and chain? Who has stolen my watch and chain, my fair lady? Off to prison you must go, you must go, you must go. Off to prison you must go, my fair lady." Similar rhymes can be found across Europe, predating records in England. Those include, and I'm going to probably say this wrong because it's Danish, Gnipsel bro gar up ugneg. As I said, I probably butcher up. But then, you could have Die Menschberger Book from Germany, Pont Churs from the 16th century France, and La Porte from the 14th century Italy. It is possible that the rhyme was acquired from one of these sources and then adapted to fit most famous bridge in England. Maybe. One of the earliest references to the rhyme in English is the comedy The London Chroniclers, printed in 1657, but probably written about 1636, in which the dairywoman Curd states that she had danced the building of London Bridge at the Whitsun-Isles in her youth, although no word or actions are mentioned. Widespread familiarity with the rhyme is suggested by its use in Henry Carey in his satire Namby Pamby in 1725, and it basically, the verse goes, "Namby Pamby is no clown, London Bridge is broken down. Now he courts the gay lady, dancing over the lady." The oldest extant version could be that recalled by the correspondence of the Gentleman's Magazine in 1824, which he claimed to have heard from a woman who was a child in the reign of Charles II, 1660 to 1685, and had the lyrics, "London Bridge is broken down, dance over the Lady Lee. London Bridge is broken down with the gay lady." Then there's another one from Tommy Thumb's Pretty Songbook, written by John Newbery in about 1777. It's very close words, and a version from James Ritson's Gamer Girton Garland in 1784. Build it up with stone so strong, dancer o lady Lee, who's till last for ages long with a gay lady. The meaning of the rhyme is not certain. It may simply relate to many difficulties experiencing in building the River Thames, or bridging it at least, but a number of alternative explanations have been put forward. So, as we said, there was the Viking attack that happened, and they're not too sure of it because they know the Vikings did come into England and did do various attacks, different things. There are certain recount historical events where they did come to a castle where they had to, the only way they could attack was through a bridge, and they were stopped at the bridge the first time around. The second time around, they were a little bit more creative. But as I said, this one is probably the most gruesome part about it. Alice Bertha Gome, later Lady Gome, was put forward the hypothesis that the song refers to the burying, perhaps while still alive, of children in the foundation of the bridge, right? And this theory was repeated by, I don't know, it's Iona or Lona and Peter Opie, based around the theory and the mythological thing about having a watchman in the foundation of the bridge of an actual human sacrifice, so that way they could watch over the bridge and keep it from falling apart. And as I said, in 2007, they did do an excavation around the base of the bridge and found bodies buried there before they decided to start doing the London Dungeons tourist attractions. My Fair Lady, and I'm going to go over this a little bit, several attempts have been made to identify who she is, or Lady Gay, or Lady, or Lee, Lay, right? Lee being Lee and Lay being Lea. You could say Lee as well, depending on where you're from. But the first one was the Virgin Mary. The nursery rhyme could allure to the Virgin Mary as the Fair Lady. The Viking attack was on 8th of September in 1009, or 1014, the traditional birthday of Virgin Mary. They burned the bridge but could not take the city. It was protected by Fair Lady. The second female that they save for identity is Matilda of Scotland, Henry I consort, who between 1110 and 1118 was responsible for building of a series of bridges that carried the London Colchester Road across the River Lea and its sides streams between Bow and Stafford. The third lady, Eleanor of Providence, who was the consort of Henry III, who had custody of the bridge revenues, as I said, was also attacked with eggs and stones at London Bridge by the discontented citizens as her barge tried passing beneath the bridge. This was in response to the political discontent, I should say, instead, that has been created not only by King Henry III's vast unpopularity at the time, but was also sparked by his son King Edward I's raiding of the temple. Now, the other one, which I already mentioned, which was from Warwickshire, the Lay family of Stoneleigh Park, who have a family story that a human sacrifice lies under the building, meaning one of their family members. And then lastly, the River Lea, which is a tributary of Thames itself, of the Thames River. So, since the late 19th century, the rhyme has been as one of the most popular and well-known in the English-speaking world. It has also been referenced in both literature and popular culture, appearing, for example, in climax of T.S. Eliot's The Wastelands in 1922. The final line may have been the inspiration of the title of the 1956 musical My Fair Lady, while the chorus of Brenda Lee's song My Whole World is Falling Down in 1963 um, is loosely based on London Bridge is Falling Down. The musical and the first track of the Halloween's album Walls of Jericho 1985 were also based on London Bridge is Falling Down, and the traditional tune is often used in English football supporters as the basis for their chants. So, next time when you sing as the London Bridge is falling down, maybe take a second thought about which way it is.